Take a slow breath in, and as you breathe out, allow the world around you to become a little quieter. The worries of today, the unfinished tasks, the endless noise of the modern world, let them drift away. Tonight, we travel back more than 500 years to an England very different from the one we know today. An England of castles and candlelight, of muddy roads and stone churches, of kings who believed they ruled by the will of God, and of ordinary people who lived their entire lives beneath that belief. The year is 1501. Winter lingers over the countryside. The mornings are cold, the fields are damp with frost, and somewhere in Norfolk, England, a little girl enters the world. A girl who is not expected to become famous, not expected to become powerful, not expected to change history. Her name is Anne Boleyn. At the time of her birth, there is nothing remarkable about her future. No prophecy, no sign from heaven, no indication that one day kings, queens, historians, and filmmakers would speak her name centuries later. She is simply another child born into a noble family. And yet, history often begins quietly. The Boleyn family is respected, but they are not among the greatest families in England. Not yet. Her father, Thomas Boleyn, is intelligent and ambitious, the kind of man who understands that influence can be worth more than gold. He studies powerful people carefully, learns how they think, learns how they rise, and perhaps most importantly, learns how they fall. Anne's mother, Elizabeth Howard, comes from a more prestigious family, but connections alone do not guarantee greatness. The Tudor court is a dangerous place. Families rise quickly. Families disappear just as quickly. A single mistake can destroy generations of work, and everyone knows it. Pause. Imagine England during these years. Small villages scattered across green hills, smoke rising from wooden cottages, church bells ringing through the morning mist, farmers beginning work before sunrise, children carrying water from wells, merchants traveling along rough roads. Life is hard. Most people never travel farther than a few miles from where they are born. Most people will never meet a king, never enter a palace, never influence history. But Anne Boleyn's life will be different, very different. Even as a child, there are signs that she possesses something unusual, not beauty, not wealth, something more dangerous, curiosity. Anne wants to understand things. She asks questions. She observes people. She notices details others ignore. Who speaks first in a room? Who remains silent? Who holds power? Who pretends to hold power? These observations seem insignificant, but one day they will become weapons. Soft instrumental music grows slightly warmer. As Anne grows older, England itself is changing. A young king sits on the throne, King Henry VIII. At this point, he is not yet the famous ruler history remembers, not yet the king of 6 wives, not yet the giant figure who transformed England forever. Instead, he is handsome, athletic, charismatic, the golden prince of Europe. People adore him, foreign ambassadors praise him, poets celebrate him. The future appears bright. No one knows what is coming. No one knows how many lives will eventually be shaped by his desires, including Anne's. Years pass. The little girl becomes a young woman, and an opportunity appears, an opportunity that will change everything. Anne is sent abroad, across the English Channel, to the courts of Europe. For many noble families, this is considered an honor. For Anne, it becomes an education unlike any other. She first spends time in the Netherlands, then later in France, and France changes her completely. The French court is dazzling, elegant, sophisticated, filled with music and poetry, the finest clothing, the finest food, the finest minds. Here, Anne learns languages. French becomes almost second nature. She studies literature, religion, politics, art. She learns how to dance gracefully, how to speak carefully, how to command attention without demanding it. And perhaps most importantly, she learns that power does not always belong to the person wearing the crown. Sometimes power belongs to the person standing quietly beside it. Pause. Night settles over the French palaces. Candles flicker along endless corridors. Musicians play softly in grand halls. Nobles whisper secrets behind embroidered fans. Every smile means something. Every glance carries meaning. Every conversation hides a purpose. Anne watches, listens, learns. While others enjoy the luxury, she studies the game. A game played by kings and queens. A game where one wrong move can cost everything. Years later, those lessons will prove invaluable, because one day she will enter the most dangerous court in Europe, the court of Henry VIII, and unlike many who came before her, she will understand exactly how dangerous it truly is. Music slows. For now, however, she remains far from England, far from the king, far from destiny, a young woman moving through candlelit halls, unaware of what awaits her, unaware that history is already moving toward her, slowly, silently, inevitably, and somewhere beyond the sea. King Henry VIII continues his reign, the future kingmaker, the future heartbreaker, the future destroyer, a man whose path is slowly moving toward Anne's. Neither of them knows it yet, but their meeting will alter a kingdom, create a new church, change the course of English history, and ultimately lead one of them to a throne and the other to a scaffold. Long pause, soft wind only. For now, allow the image to settle in your mind. A young woman in France, a world lit by candlelight, a future hidden beyond the horizon, and a destiny quietly approaching with every passing year. Take a slow breath and let yourself drift deeper, because Anne Boleyn's story is only just beginning. Take another slow breath and allow your mind to drift further away from the present, further away from glowing screens, from busy roads, from modern cities. Tonight, we remain in the 16th century, a world illuminated not by electricity, but by candlelight, a world where messages traveled on horseback, where kings ruled by bloodline, and where a young woman named Anne Boleyn was learning lessons that would one day change England forever. The journey across the English Channel was not always comfortable. The sea could be rough, the winds cold. Ships creaked and groaned as they crossed dark waters. Yet for noble families, these journeys represented opportunity. For Anne, they were great courts of Europe, places filled with wealth, power, intrigue, and danger hidden beneath elegance. The first years abroad introduced Anne to a world far larger than England. Everything seemed different. The languages, the fashions, the customs, even the way people moved through a room. Every gesture carried meaning. Every conversation carried purpose. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was simple. And Anne watched carefully. She was not the loudest person in the room, nor the most beautiful, but she possessed something rare. She paid attention, while others focused on appearances. Anne studied behavior. She noticed who spoke confidently, who hesitated, who held influence despite lacking titles, and who possessed titles but no real power at all. These observations became her education, an education more valuable than any book. Pause. As years passed, Anne eventually arrived in France, and France dazzled her. The French court was considered among the most sophisticated in Europe. It was a place where art flourished, where musicians performed for royalty, where poets entertained nobles, where conversations about politics, religion, and philosophy filled grand halls. For a young woman from England, it must have felt like entering another world. Imagine enormous palaces glowing with candlelight, long corridors decorated with rich tapestries, walls covered with paintings, tables filled with silver cups and golden plates, perfumes drifting through the air, the sound of soft music echoing from distant chambers. Everything seemed larger, brighter, more refined, but beneath that beauty lay a constant struggle for influence. Because royal courts were not merely places of celebration, they were battlefields. Battlefields without swords, without armies, without visible scars. A single conversation could change a person's future. A single rumor could destroy a family. A single mistake could end a career forever. And everyone knew it. Music becomes softer. Anne adapted quickly. She learned French fluently. She mastered courtly manners. She learned how to dance gracefully, how to speak with confidence, how to move through a room filled with powerful people. Yet what truly separated her from many others was her mind. Anne loved learning. She read widely. She listened carefully. She absorbed ideas from every direction. The French court encouraged intellectual curiosity more than many other places in Europe. Women could participate in conversations about literature, religion, politics, and culture. Anne thrived in this environment. The years abroad slowly shaped her into someone remarkable, not because they made her powerful, but because they made her prepared for challenges she could not yet imagine. Pause. Sometimes, late at night, after the celebrations had ended, palace corridors grew quiet. Candles burned low. Servants moved silently through the shadows, and beyond the windows, the stars watched over sleeping kingdoms. Perhaps Anne stood near those windows, looking into the darkness, thinking about England, thinking about the future, wondering what life might hold. Like most young people, she probably imagined happiness, adventure, opportunity. She could not know that history was already waiting for her. She could not know that one day she would stand at the center of one of the greatest political storms Europe had ever seen. For now, she was simply learning, growing, becoming. Soft ambient pause. One lesson appeared again and again during her years in France. Power is rarely what it seems. A king may wear the crown, but advisors guide decisions. Families form alliances. Friends become enemies. Enemies become friends. Everything changes. Everything shifts. Nothing remains secure forever. Anne witnessed this repeatedly. She learned that influence often operates quietly, not through force, but through persuasion, charm, intelligence, timing. These lessons would become essential because the man she would eventually meet, King Henry VIII, was a man who believed power belonged entirely to him, and most people around him agreed. Most people obeyed him without question. Most people feared him. But Anne had spent years observing powerful individuals. She understood something many others did not. Even kings have weaknesses. Even kings can be influenced. Even kings can become obsessed. Music deepened slightly. As the years passed, Anne's reputation grew. She became known for her intelligence, her elegance, her confidence. She was not the type of woman who disappeared into the background. People remembered her, not because she demanded attention, but because she possessed presence, a quality difficult to describe and impossible to ignore. When she entered a room, people noticed. When she spoke, people listened. Not everyone liked her. Strong personalities rarely please everyone, but even those who disliked Anne often respected her. She seemed different, and difference can be powerful, especially in a world where everyone is expected to behave the same way. Pause. Eventually, however, her years in France began to draw to a close. England called her home. The kingdom she had left behind years earlier awaited her return, but England itself had changed. The young king continued to rule, the Tudor court continued to grow, and opportunities waited for ambitious families. When Anne finally prepared to leave France, she carried far more than luggage. She carried experience, knowledge, confidence, and an understanding of power that few women of her age possessed. The crossing back to England was calm. The sea stretched endlessly beneath grey skies. Waves rolled gently against the ship. The wind carried the scent of salt and distant rain. Ahead, the English coastline slowly appeared, familiar, yet somehow different. Anne was returning home, but she was no longer the girl who had left. She had changed, and soon, England would change too, because somewhere within the royal court, a king lived his life unaware that the woman who would alter his destiny was sailing toward him. The moment had not yet arrived. Their paths had not yet crossed, but with every wave, every mile, every passing hour, they moved closer together, closer to love, closer to ambition, closer to tragedy, and closer to a story that would echo through history for centuries. Music fades into soft wind. Take a slow breath. Feel yourself drifting deeper. The sea grows quiet. The candles burn lower. And Anne Boleyn's journey is only beginning. Soft rain, fireplace crackling. Anne returned to England a different woman. Years spent in France had transformed her. She carried herself with confidence. She spoke with intelligence. And before long, people at court began to notice, including the king himself. Henry VIII was powerful, respected, feared. Yet one problem haunted him. He had no surviving son. His marriage to Catherine of Aragon had produced only one living child, Princess Mary. For Henry, that was not enough. He wanted an heir, a prince. As the years passed, his frustration grew. At court, Anne attracted attention, not because she was considered the most beautiful woman in England, but because she was different. She was witty, educated, and confident. Henry enjoyed speaking with her. Soon, curiosity became admiration, and admiration became obsession. But Anne refused to become the king's mistress. She had seen that story before. Women came and went. Favorites were forgotten. Anne wanted something more. If Henry wanted her, he would have to offer marriage. The refusal only increased Henry's desire. He wrote letters, sought her company, and thought about her constantly. What began as romance would soon become something much larger, a force capable of changing an entire kingdom. Enpa Queenan, church bells in the distance. Henry wanted to marry Anne, but one obstacle remained. His wife, Catherine of Aragon. The king asked the Pope to end the marriage. The request was denied. Months became years. Henry grew impatient. Eventually, he made a decision that shocked Europe. He broke away from the authority of Rome. England would no longer answer to the Pope. The Church of England was born. With the path finally clear, Henry married Anne. In 1533, she was crowned Queen of England. The ceremony was magnificent. Gold, music, crowds, and at last, Anne wore the crown she had waited years to receive. Yet not everyone celebrated. Many still supported Catherine. Many blamed Anne for the kingdom's turmoil. Despite the criticism, Anne embraced her role as queen. She became involved in politics and religion. She hoped to secure her position, but one expectation remained. The king still wanted a son, and the future of their marriage depended on it. Soft and a different woman, years spent in France had transformed her. She carried herself with confidence. She spoke with intelligence, and before long, people at court began to notice, including the king himself. Henry VIII was powerful, respected, feared. Yet one problem haunted him. He had no surviving son. His marriage to Catherine of Aragon had produced only one living child, Princess Mary. For Henry, that was not enough. He wanted an heir, a prince. As the years passed, his frustration grew. At court, Anne attracted attention, not because she was considered the most beautiful woman in England, but because she was different. She was witty, educated, and confident. Henry enjoyed speaking with her. Soon, curiosity became admiration, and admiration became obsession. But Anne refused to become the king's mistress. She had seen that story before. Women came and went. Favorites were forgotten. Anne wanted something more. If Henry wanted her, he would have to offer marriage. The refusal only increased Henry's desire. He wrote letters, sought her company, and thought about her constantly. What began as romance would soon become something much larger, a force capable of changing an entire kingdom. And the version, church bells in the distance. Henry wanted to marry Anne, but one obstacle remained. His wife, Catherine of Aragon. The king asked the Pope to end the marriage. The request was denied. Months became years. Henry grew impatient. Eventually, he made a decision that shocked Europe. He broke away from the authority of Rome. England would no longer answer to the Pope. The Church of England was born. With the path finally clear, Henry married Anne. In 1533, she was crowned Queen of England. The ceremony was magnificent. Gold, at last, Anne wore the crown she had waited years to receive. Yet not everyone celebrated. Many still supported Catherine. Many blamed Anne for the kingdom's turmoil. Despite the criticism, Anne embraced her role as queen. She became involved in politics and religion. She hoped to secure her position, but one expectation remained. The king still wanted a son, and the future of their marriage depended on it. In September 1533, Anne gave birth. The child was healthy, but it was not a boy, it was a girl. Her name was Elizabeth. Today, history remembers her as one of England's greatest rulers, but at the time, many were disappointed. Henry still wanted a male heir. For a while, hope remained. Anne would surely have another child, yet the pregnancies that followed ended in tragedy. The king's disappointment grew. So did the influence of Anne's enemies. At court, rumors spread. Whispers filled the halls, and Henry's attention began to drift elsewhere, toward a quiet young woman named Jane Seymour. Anne noticed the change. The warmth that once existed between them was fading. The king who had transformed England to marry her now seemed distant. By early 1536, Anne's position had become fragile. She still wore the crown, but danger was approaching, and everyone at court could feel it. In May 1536, Anne Boleyn was arrested. She was accused of adultery, treason, and plotting against the king. Many historians believe the accusations were false, but the outcome had already been decided. Anne was taken to the Tower of London, the same fortress she had once passed on her way to her coronation. Now she entered as a prisoner. A trial followed. The verdict was guilty. The sentence was death. On her final night, Anne waited inside a small chamber within the tower. Perhaps she thought of her childhood, perhaps she thought of Henry, or her daughter Elizabeth. No one knows. Morning arrived. Anne faced her fate with remarkable calm. Witnesses later spoke of her dignity and courage. She addressed the crowd briefly, then knelt before the executioner. Moments later, her story came to an end. Yet history never forgot her, because Anne Boleyn changed England forever. And through her daughter Elizabeth, her legacy would endure long after the crown had vanished.